morning everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform or you can go straight to my website at thereligioushippie.com. Good morning everybody. It is currently I think 7:30 in the morning and I just woke up a couple minutes ago. I brushed my teeth and everything like that. I really tried to start this video yesterday and film yesterday, but we went over to my parents' house, and because there was so much work that needed to be done to prep the pond for winter and to prep the yard for winter and to just do a whole bunch of stuff, that I didn't have any time to actually film what we were doing, because you guys would be surprised how hard it is to set a camera up and like film what you're doing, especially if you're in the middle of something, especially if you're in the middle of doing like a chore or a task and like, oh, I have to film this. It's like, it's not second nature to me to set up a camera every single time I'm doing something. So I didn't film basically anything, and I was like, well, that can't be the first day of this vlog. So I decided to start it kind of like today instead. But we also went out for ice cream yesterday, which was really fun, a little spontaneous date, if you will. Oh, and I also had a podcast with Trent yesterday, which went really, really well. Trent is hilarious. He is so fun. I love interviewing him. So anyways, I don't really know what this vlog is going to be just yet. I do want it to be a book vlog because I am going to be returning my books to the library sometime soon. I just finished William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying. Oh, and my computer's awake. I was not a fan of this book, but we'll get into the books later. I'm just showing you guys the ones that I'm kind of finished with. So this one I'm finished with. This one I am very, very close to being finished with, as you can tell. But again, I'm gonna get into all of my books later in this video. For right now, I am going to prep for another podcast I have today with Manny. You guys might know him as Emmanuel. He is someone who has same-sex attraction, SSA, and so we're doing a podcast today about that. And I love his take because, of course, we know that people who do struggle with SSA, it's not a sin unless you act on it. But I think this is a very taboo topic in Catholic circles, and I don't think it should be. I think we should be able to welcome but not affirm. And besides that, I am going to go ahead and start my morning prayer routine. And yeah, you guys are just gonna kind of come along with me today, per usual. I hope it's not boring, but we already established, and I say this in almost every single vlog I do, that this is not about aesthetics or perfection. This is real life, baby. So sometimes there's gonna be days that are very, very boring, and I apologize for that. But you guys only have to sit through like a 5-minute clip of it. I have to live it. So yeah. I also apologize for the mess of my office. I need to clean it so bad. Sorry. morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2. Technically day 3, but officially day 2 that I was filming. As you could see, it's very, very snowy outside right now. And so I thought this would be a perfect time for me to go over the books that I am reading, in case we have like the same taste in books or something and you guys want to know what I'm reading. I don't know. Follow my Goodreads, because honestly I update that a lot more than I update you guys on my books on my videos. So if you guys want to stay up to date with what I am reading, follow my Goodreads. So these are the books. I got 2 from the library. So we'll go over the ones I got from the library first. So I just finished this one as I lay dying. I think I told you guys that yesterday. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what was said or what wasn't said. So this is by William Faulkner, as you can tell, because his name is bigger than the title of the book itself. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not like this book very much. I know the lady, so there was this girl about my age when my husband and I were going to check out library books, and she was telling him that, like, yeah, you know, this book, I just checked it out and everything, and I read it, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. Either you really, really like a book or you really, really don't like a book. And with William Faulkner, you kind of fall into that, where it's like either you really love William Faulkner or you don't at all. And I'm one of those people that just don't at all. But basically, let me try to lay it out for you guys. So the story follows the Bundren, the Bundren family. But basically they're on this journey to bury their mother, Addie, who had died. And she's not completely dead when you first start the book. You kind of get the gist as it goes out, and then you see her die. It's really confusing at times. Basically, each chapter is each family's or neighbor's specific perspective on her death and what is going on in that moment. Faulkner uses this interesting streamline of consciousness to kind of describe to us their thoughts and what's going on. It's like this experimental streamline of consciousness, and it does sound interesting if you haven't read Faulkner and you're like, oh, that sounds really interesting, what does that look like? Can I just read you guys a quick little tidbit of this? My mother is a fish. My mother's a fish. This narrative, it jumps between 15 different characters in this book. And honestly, sometimes I was just left wondering, what did I just read? Because sometimes I had no idea. I was like, what timeline are we in? Is she alive? Is she not? What are you talking about? Where are we? And as you could see by that one chapter that was titled, My Mother's a Fish. I mean, what? Archimedes, is that you? Hi, baby. Wanna come in? Okay, where was I? So I think the reason why I found this book so challenging is because Faulkner does not hold your hand while he's writing this book and while you're reading this book. And he kind of just assumes you'll figure it out as you go reading it and everything, but that makes for a very chaotic story, and it's really hard to keep all of the perspectives straight. Honestly, I even had a hard time keeping the characters straight. I was like, wait, is this her son? Is this her neighbor? Who's that? Who's this? It was really confusing. 15 different perspectives. Not to mention that some of the narrators are unreliable in their perspectives. And there were genuine times when I wasn't sure they were going through grief, hallucinations, or just like pure insanity. But Faulkner wanted the chaos. The chaos was completely intentional on his part. His writing kind of reflects this fractured nature of each one of the characters. So it's kind of supposed to make you uncomfortable because like grief and family drama and all that stuff is uncomfortable. So he really did drive that point home, I feel like, because the book definitely was uncomfortable, but I'm still not the biggest fan. Now, the things I can appreciate about the book is I do appreciate the raw emotion and the complexity of all the relationships. I think he did a really, really good job on trying to communicate all of that. He does a good job of like portraying each family member's struggles, whether that's Cash is the name of one of her sons, whether it's Cash's obsessive need to perfect Addie's coffin or Daryl's slow descent into madness. Either way, it's like he does a very good job of kind of showing us and describing to us their emotions and what they're feeling and thinking at the time. And while it still is not my cup of tea or anything, I do respect his boldness with experimenting with narrative styles and just the way that he wrote it. I mean, experimental is always interesting. He really does push a lot of boundaries, and I can understand why this book was read in different literary classes. Yeah. You wanna come here? Come here, my sweet boy. But with my little, you know, appreciation out of the way, I still did not enjoy reading this book. The disjointed storytelling really made it hard for me to stay engaged, and overall it was just very confusing, and the way he wrote as well, like in one of these, where is it? Okay, I can't really find it, but basically he misspells words, like instead of killed, he says kilt, in order to drive home like the southern accents that they have. And that's actually a creative style that they also use in Mice and Men. But I did not, as a dyslexic person, really appreciate that, because my mind was like, what? Kilt? He killed her. He killed her. I felt like I honestly felt like I kind of lost brain cells a little bit. Not to mention that some parts kind of felt a little bit overly abstract, like Faulkner was trying a little too hard to be deep, and the characters overall are very difficult to connect with. They're deeply flawed, but also just very unlikable most of the time, all of them. And while it does make those characters realistic, it didn't really make me care about them the way that I think I would have wanted to or would have liked to. So, would I recommend As I Lay Dying? Well, if you're looking for a cozy book to snuggle up with when it's snowing outside with a little hot cocoa, I would not suggest this book.
No!
However, if you are someone who likes dissecting complex literary works, I do think you might enjoy this book, and just for the fact that you do have to dissect it. But you might have to take a little more time with it than I did. I kind of read this in like a week. And obviously it's only 265 pages. I have read over 500-page books in a day.
Stop it.
But because this was so difficult to follow and understand, my brain just needed constant brain breaks. But if you're looking for something that's like straightforward and relatable, this isn't going to be the book for you. I respect Faulkner and his style, but it is not my thing. But let me know if you guys have read it, and or in general any works from Faulkner, and maybe I'll give him another try if you guys have a book that you highly suggest from him. But for now, I think I'm going to put Faulkner on the shelf. Well, back on the library shelf, that is. Where are you going? You went out? Well, you came in, I told you. I'm not letting you back out. What? Okay, the next book I got from the library was Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I did not get very far in this book, and I will explain why in a moment. But first, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the book, because I kind of already know the story of the book, and I'm sure many of you guys have read this book. You guys know about this book because Jane Austen is so popular amongst people today that it's like, if you haven't heard of her, you live under a rock.
Who is Jane Austen?
So this book takes place in the early 19th century, and it follows this girl named Anne Elliot, who is 27. She's kind, she's very intelligent, but because she's 27, she is considered past her prime.
I'm 27 years old. I've no money and no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents.
Prior to this, about 7 or 8 years ago, she was engaged to a man who her family deemed unfit for her to marry, so she ended up breaking off the engagement despite the fact that she had not actually agreed with breaking off the engagement herself. So the guy she was engaged to was Frederick Wentworth, and her family disapproved because he was a naval officer, so they convinced her to break off the engagement with him. And then he comes back and he is like really wealthy, he's very noble, all of that stuff, and then they have to kind of confront their feelings for each other, especially her lingering feelings for him. And her family is struggling financially, so there's been a financial decline in her family. And overall, it's kind of a slow burn of a book. A lot of you guys are probably familiar with other Jane Austen books like Pride and Prejudice or Emma even, but I have found that Persuasion is more introspective. Anne isn't bold, and she's not this outspoken heroine that we would expect to see from Jane Austen, especially with the previous books that she has written. But Anne instead is very reserved and thoughtful and considerate. In general, those qualities that Austen put into Anne really made her relatable to me, and relatable to obviously tons of women who have read this book. I also feel like the tone of this book is more mature as opposed to her other works. There's these themes of regret and loss, but also hope, and it's just a more mature take, I feel like. And I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but this was actually the last book that Jane Austen wrote before she passed away. Or second to last book. Pretty sure it was the last book she ever wrote before she passed away. So it's almost like her last book was kind of her bow out almost in a way, and the things that she's personally learned and just all of her wisdom and life experience she kind of just like put into Anne, and I feel like that's very interesting. But anyways, my thing about Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte and all of those people, the one thing that I have found for myself is the best way for me to
read their books is actually to listen to their books, because a lot of the language that they use in here is no longer used today. And not that that is wrong. I think we need more of that. We need to bring back purposeful, beautiful language. But because I can't hear in what manner it's being used, because we don't live in this era anymore and a lot of these words aren't used today. Well, not a lot of them, but you know, there's those few. It's easier for me to understand the book when I listen to it because it's like a conversation, and then I can see how those words or those sentences are placed into a specific line. I've been able to almost grasp onto the stories better and the characters better, get more connected with them, and I understand the context of the book better. So even though I haven't gotten very far in the book itself, I've been listening to the audiobook. But would I suggest Persuasion by Jane Austen? I would. I think if you like a slow burn romance, if you like quiet and reflective stories, and in general just want a heroine who is relatable and gentle and isn't perfect but learns to embrace her worth, yeah, I totally think that you should read Persuasion. I know some guys who have read Persuasion who have really enjoyed it as well, so it's not just for the ladies. I like it. I think it's good. I think it's a little toned down compared to her other works, but I've enjoyed it so far. Okay, next up is Bad Childhood, Good Life by Dr. Laura Schlesinger. I always butcher her last name, I apologize. First of all, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I love Dr. Laura. I have read The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands, and that really helped me prepare for marriage, and in general, just relationships and understanding men, that type of thing. It was very, very helpful. Also, understanding that it's like, as women, the world doesn't revolve around us. It's just really refreshing to get a little bit of tough love, as opposed to like, yes, girl, like, dump him, like, he doesn't deserve you. You know, I'm so tired of women just using any and every excuse to get out of like doing difficult work or not being able to control their emotions. For the first time ever. I definitely loved her book, and every girl I've talked to who genuinely was open to her advice and willing to implement it into their own lives loved her work too. So the main theme that I have found in this book is that you do not need to be the victim of your circumstances. Dr. Laura explains that while your childhood can explain some of your adult behaviors, destructive ones, etc., those do not control you, and you can take control of your life. Basically, yes, a bad childhood could explain your bad behavior patterns, but it's not an excuse for staying stuck in them. I also love the fact that Dr. Laura does not shy away from the point that healing is a choice, blaming others, being stuck in anger that you feel like is justified and could be justified, of course, but those things ultimately keep you trapped. They don't actually offer any healing, and you might start realizing how much resentment is actually holding you back from healing, and you are the person in your own way of healing, because something very bad could have happened to you, but at the end of the day, that was not your fault. You had no control over that, but now as an adult, you are responsible for how you react to those things. I also love the fact that she talks about therapy in here and how therapy kind of reiterates trauma and a lot of the times keeps people stuck in trauma as opposed to helping them move past it. And I think that that's a really important point, because a lot of therapists will say, well, write an angry letter to your mom. That's not going to fix anything. That's not going to make your mom love you more. That's not going to make your dad love you more. That's not going to make your siblings stop being a drug addict or whatever you're struggling with. Like, those things aren't going to stop, and you're just punishing yourself. Dr. Laura has a very tough love approach to these types of things, and I think it's something women definitely need, and men need it too. Honestly, we get stuck in this victim mentality where we start becoming a human vacuum and start sucking and becoming the abuser or whatever to our other friends and family because we're refusing to work on ourselves and heal ourselves from the abuse we went through. Whether it was your fault or not doesn't really matter, because now you're an adult and you are responsible for how you behave and how you conduct yourself based off of these things that have happened. I really like her piece of advice where she says to stop getting validation from the wrong type of people, or stop seeking, stop seeking love from the devil or something. Yeah, she says never seek love from the devil. And I think that that's so important, and I highly suggest everyone should read this book, whether you have gone through something very abusive or you had a completely normal childhood. I think that this doesn't just help with like bad childhoods, but just like bad experiences in general that maybe you have faced throughout your life that maybe bother you still. So it doesn't even just have to be your childhood. It could be just an experience. You know what I mean? I honestly can't really speak highly enough of Dr. Laura or this book or any of her books really for that matter. So I would highly suggest this book for just anyone and everyone, whether you know someone who has had an abusive situation and you want to know how to help them, like there's that. But overall, I would highly suggest this book for anyone who wants to break unhealthy patterns, people who are stuck in resentment and anger, those who want to improve their relationships, and I'd say people who are struggling with their self-worth as well. Overall though, this book is not a book that coddles you. Let me be honest with that. It does not coddle you. It does not be like, oh, poor you, poor whatever. She addresses and acknowledges that evil does exist and what evil happens, like that's terrible, etc. That should never happen. But you should not use that evil that happened to you as an excuse to continue doing evil to others or yourself. And overall, I just really love this book. I got like that much left. So I'm very excited to read the last little bit and then get another book from her. I don't know which one yet, but we'll see. And our last book is Conversation with Christ. And this is by Father Peter Thomas Robach. So I started reading this book because I'm doing this program through SOCA where I have a friend, he basically helps Kevin Rotary who started SOCA, and I kind of explained this in my other video about spiritual directors. So what it is souls of the Christian apostolate, and they help you with a better faith life, a better prayer life, specifically with meditation and teaching you how to meditate properly, because that is how we really do connect with God. And we all know that the rosary is a meditative prayer, but not everybody knows how to meditate. And so SOCA really does help, and I'll link their information below if you want to go check them out. But basically, I am doing the program with them, and I have a friend who is walking me through it. So we're meeting, I think, like once a month for like 3 months or whatever. We just had our first meeting a couple weeks ago, which went really well. And so I start reading this book, and this is kind of the introduction to mental prayer and explaining how it works and everything. And then there's another book called I think it's called Soul of the Apostolate. I need to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it's Soul of the Apostolate. And so I read that one. And basically it helps people who are like me, who are in ministry, to make sure that we are staying on the right track. Now, yes, I have a spiritual director who's very involved in my ministry, but I have found that this book and this program in general has really helped me with my meditative prayer, but also prayer in general. Because also on my phone, which is all the way across the room, I have 8 alarms that are set for almost like every hour or every other hour, where it's just a vibrating alarm, and it's just a reminder for me to keep God at the forefront of my mind. So whenever that alarm goes off, no matter what I'm doing, unless I'm driving, of course, because then I just like keep my eyes open. But if I'm doing something where I can close my eyes, I say, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I confess that you are here and I love you, and I welcome you into whatever I'm doing, whether that's work or dishes or laundry or driving. And it's like not even 20 seconds, it's like 5 seconds, 5-second prayer. And it just kind of helps me keep God at the forefront of my mind, which has been a struggle for me recently. It was never a struggle for me before, but I guess because things continuously keep getting busy, it's been a little more difficult for me to stay focused. But that has helped me a lot. So I highly suggest you guys do that as well. But yeah, this book has been really great. It teaches you how to prepare for meditation. It teaches you how to meditate in general, and then conversation. So it's kind of broken up into 3 different parts. He also talks about how you can overcome distractions, and yeah, overall, I just think that this is a really great book, and you guys should definitely get it. It's really short. It's on Tan Books, I think. Yeah, feel free to use my promo code Amber15 for Tan Books. I know I don't really say it all that often. I link it below in the description if you guys want to go check that out. But affiliate links are a way that you guys can help support my ministry while also getting some really cool stuff or discounts. So yeah, just throwing that out there. You guys don't have to use it. Obviously, I'm not going to force you to, but if you guys would like to, go for it. But yeah, overall, I really love this book because he doesn't just tell you how to pray, he also teaches you how to pray, and also having an accountability partner through SOCA helps a lot to stay on task. And if I have questions or anything, they're very knowledgeable about that stuff. So that has been very helpful too. So I would definitely suggest this book for anyone who wants to grow in their prayer life, but maybe feels stuck or doesn't know where to start. Those who are looking for a deeper relationship with Christ, 100%. This book has helped me so much with that. People who struggle with distractions or dryness during prayer, I think that's a huge one. I think I get like at least 4 emails a week from people who say they struggle with dryness or distraction during prayer. So this is a great great book for you guys. And in general, anyone who loves St. Teresa of Avila and is inspired by the Carmelite spirituality, I think this would be a great fit for you guys. So yeah, those are kind of all the books that I'm reading right now. That was really, really long, but you guys are fine. But yeah, that's it. So yeah. Alright, well, it's really snowy outside and I don't really know what to do, so I'm just gonna kind of drink my tea and start working. So I decided to go live at 1:30, currently 12:20. Now I have a sty, which I'm not going to show you guys because it's really gross, but I do have to be careful about the makeup I put on because I don't want to irritate it even more. And I have been putting like warm compresses and chamomile tea on it and everything, but just kind of like gotta let it run its course, you know? Also, I apologize for not filming like anything that I was working on. I filmed so much of it yesterday that I felt really bad for having like 2 days of me just working and showing you guys, because again, some days are just boring and mostly my weeks just kind of look like this. They don't look like anything particularly special. Usually on Thursdays I do go to my parents, but because of the snowstorm I am unable to, so that's why I'm live streaming. But yeah, I've been working since I got back from my walk. I did my husband's laundry, and now I'm debating if I want another cup of tea. I have about an hour before my live stream, so I'm probably gonna just keep working. I will get another cup of tea and then I will just show you guys what I'm doing. So far I have edited 2 podcasts, the one with Manny and then the one with Trent. I have been writing emails all day. I've been scheduling podcasts. I've been figuring out some travel plans because Max and I are going to California in December to be on Lila Rose's podcast, so that is really, really fun, but we have to figure out all the travel plans for that. One of my friends, Clay, is picking us up from the airport, kind of showing us around. Shout out to Clay, who's always in my live streams and usually always watches my videos. We're gonna go see the Abbey, St. Michael's Abbey. I'm very good friends with Father Ambrose and Father Peregrine, who is there. I don't know if you guys remember, but I interviewed Father Peregrine for the books that he writes. Let me see if I can find one of them. Yeah, so this is one of the books that he's written. He's also done the one with like the snail and the king, and the illustrations are done by him as well, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So I love Father Peregrine. It'll be so nice to finally meet him in person. Definitely go check out his books. I'll link these below. They're mainly for children, but personally for me, the beauty of the illustration and the stories that he comes up with and that he's written about are just phenomenal. So highly suggest these. Okay, enough rambling. I'm gonna grab some tea, start working, and I don't exactly know what else I need to do. I'm gonna just kind of pick up where I left off, and so sorry this is boring.
Okay, so Max is making me breakfast, which is really sweet. I'm booking our trip for the 2025 March for Life, and it's gonna be really fun. I have not been able to make it in the last few years because timing was either off, I didn't have enough money, all of that stuff kind of plays a factor into this, but now I'm married, we have the means to get there, and it's gonna be a good trip. So I didn't realize I'm traveling a lot, but I think it's good. It's good for the ministry. It's good because I get to come out there and meet you guys. I'm not all holed up in my little office space 24/7. But yeah, I just booked our hotel room. We're gonna be driving there. And honestly, any trip that's not 36 hours is gonna be like a breeze to Max and me. And of course we wanna stop at some places along the way. So we'll kind of figure that out as we go. But for now, very happy, booked a trip, very happy to march for babies and to help mothers in need. So let me know in the comments below if you guys are going to the National March for Life next year, technically 2025 March for Life. And maybe I'll see you there. So I just wrapped up a Zoom conference thing with Jarrell. Basically, he has a bunch of guys that he helps become more manly by, you know, integrity and giving them workout routines. I'm butchering it. You guys should just go check him out in the description below. But basically, he brought me on to talk to these guys to kind of tell them about Catholic dating, what a Catholic girl is interested in. And obviously they got to ask a whole bunch of questions, and it was overall just a wonderful time. These guys are phenomenal, and I have no doubt that they are going to make leaps and bounds in the dating world, but all just in their Catholic faith and their lives in general. So that was wonderful. I forgot to set my camera up though to kind of like, yeah, but it is now 6:15 and I am going to go check on Max and see what he's up to. Hi, babe.
Hey.
Good morning, everybody. I just realized I never filmed an outro yesterday. I went to go check on Max, we watched some TV, we did our prayers, we read some books, we went to bed, and I did not film any of it because, well, first of all, I don't like filming a lot of the personal things that Max and I do, like praying together and things like that. I can tell you guys about our prayer routines and about the stuff that we do, but filming it makes it feel cheap. Almost like we cheapen it when we film it. I don't know how to explain that, but like when we're praying together, it feels weird when we set up a camera or anything, so we just don't, because that's prayer between we could probably reenact it for you guys, but then it's like, what's even the point? So if you guys want to know about our prayer routine as a married couple, let me know in the comments below. But that would be just a quick video of me just telling you guys what we do as a prayer routine for a couple. Anyways, yeah, I don't think I really have anything else. This video is already a lot longer than I anticipated it. Usually I struggle with videos being too short when it comes to day in my lives because I forget to film. And anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.